Hello, citizens, and welcome back. Yeah, I mean, let's just get this video out of the way. Look, we have problems. There's no getting around it. City are in. We're not quite in free fall, but we are not playing well, and there are some pretty blatant issues going on here that are not being fixed. And week in, week out, we're seeing the same things happen over and over again. And I'm kind of sick of it now, and I'm sure you are sick of it too. Maybe you don't see a problem. I don't know, but in my opinion, look, let's look at this last Crystal Palace game, shall we? The one thing I said in the match preview is we need to keep things simple, and that is keep the same team that went against Nottingham Forest and build on that. Build on that momentum, build on the tiny little successes that we had. Yes, we struggled in parts of that Nottingham Forest game, but we came out with a clean sheet. We came out with 3 goals, and importantly, 3 points as well. Much needed 3 points because we are struggling hard. But Pep just can't help himself. Pep couldn't resist it, and he changed it up. He changed the team up. You know, he's brought in Walker. He's got Diaz in defence with Guardiola and Lewis, Bernardo, Gundogan, Savino, De Bruyne, Nunes, and Haaland. The rest of the team. And he's changed it, and I can't believe he's changed it. He had such a phenomenal result against Nottingham Forest. A high-flying Nottingham Forest, may I add. A Nottingham Forest team that beat Liverpool at Anfield and probably be the only teams to beat them this season. He had a fantastic result against them, and he's gone and switched it up. He's gone and switched it up, and I can't believe he's done it. I really can't. I know he likes his tinkering. I know he likes to, outthink himself, and he plays against himself most times for formations or with team lineups, particularly towards the last stage of the Champions League. He has to change something because he gets inside his own head. But now he's doing it in the Premier League every single week. Every 3 days, there's something new going on. Now that Nottingham Forest team and that game, we had phenomenal success, and part of that is because we had Grealish in that team in the middle, who was unbelievable going up and down the pitch. You know, he held on the ball really well. We won free kicks at key moments in the game. He slows down the pace. The only thing he didn't do in that Nottingham Forest game is shoot. And all the fans were calling for the number of times he had the ball outside of the box, able to get a shot on goal, and he just decided to play it short instead. Another big part of that Nottingham Forest win was Doku on the left-hand side. Now, I think Grealish and Doku have had their best games for us this season. I think Doku might have had his best game for us overall, period. You know, I know he got 4 assists against Bournemouth last season, but he's bloody Bournemouth for Christ's sake, and we were high-flying back then. But I think Doku's performance against Nottingham Forest is probably his best one for us. You know, I think he had everything. I think he showed off his pace. He wasn't afraid to run at his fullback, and he was going inside, outside. He set up De Bruyne's goal. He got a goal himself, really well-taken goal from Haaland's through ball. And Grealish as well. I've not seen him play that well for a long time, probably the treble season, to be honest with you. And we know Grealish doesn't get a lot of assists and a lot of goals, but he influenced that game in so many ways all over the pitch. Defensively as well, he's fantastic. Got a couple of great blocks in against Forest. And building on that, when you've had those 2 players have that success, why has Pep then gone and taken them out against Crystal Palace away from home? Crystal Palace team, yes, they only just won their 2nd game away from home last time out. I think they've only won 1 at Selhurst Park this season. I'm not really sure. But we've had trouble with Crystal Palace before. They're a tough team to go against. Everyone knows it. You go away to Palace. They don't make it easy. Their fans are very enclosed on the pitch. They're very loud, very vocal, and they spur their team on. And like I said, Palace have just got a great win. They're up for it. They're against the champions of England, who they know are struggling at the moment, because everyone knows we're struggling, and that gives them an extra boost. They take the lead early on, and we play ourselves back into the game, get a goal, then they go back in front, then we get back ourselves in the game, and then we get players sent off. But Pep, lack of consistency, it is phenomenal to me, and I can't believe he's done it. I just can't believe it. Now, I know why he's not played Akanji, because he's injured. Fair enough, and I think Akanji's having a really bad season for us. I think Akanji's playing really, really poor. So perhaps he needs to bring on Walker, because we've got no Ake either, because he's injured. So you got Akanji and Ake out. You got Stones out, which means Lewis and Walker have to play in this game. So I get kind of why he's changed that defense. I really do. But there's one glaring problem with that defense, and that is Walker. Walker is a big, big issue for me. And part of the problem that we've got is not just Pep's insistence to bring him on at halftime for players or to try and get back him in this squad, but Walker offers absolutely zero to this team. Absolute zero. There is nothing I can say in my mind that gives me a reason to put him in this City team. If I'm playing Football Manager, if I'm playing EAFC, sure, I'm putting Walker in. Why? Because he's quick, not for anything else. What do you think of Walker? You don't think of his passing. You don't think of his shooting. You don't think of his crossing or anything like that. You don't think his 1-2s getting down the line, his overlaps or anything like that. You think of his pace. He's got 0 of that this season. He's been done by absolutely everyone. You know, his defending, I'm sorry, but people call him the best right back the league's ever seen. Forget that, because he's never been able to defend in my book. Over the years, I've watched him time and time again, put on shocking defensive performances that he gets away with because his pace makes up for all his errors and all his problems. You know, we play on the halfway line, so we need someone like Walker with his pace because we get counter-attacks so often. And like I said, right now, teams see us as vulnerable. Teams know they can attack us. And if they get 3 and 4 bodies over that halfway line when they counter-attack, they're going to cause us problems and they're going to get big chances because we just can't hold a line. We've got no pace to get back. But with Walker in that team, he's supposed to negate a lot of that. In fact, I reckon the only reason he's in that team is to negate that. But when he gets bombing up the pitch and he does them overlaps and he gets in those poor crosses or those poor passes or he gets dispossessed or whatever, when they counter on us, he's nowhere to be seen. And when he does, prime example of it, when he does, he's got Timo Werner in that Tottenham game when they're about to score their 4th goal. What does he do? He lets Werner gives him about 5-10 yards of space, which he does with everyone. Walk. He does this. He doesn't engage them. He backs off, gives them 5-10 yards of space, and then chases them once they start to knock the ball past him. Once they hit that ball down the line, that's when Walker puts on the afterburners and goes after them. And he can't do it anymore. This season, he's lost all his pace. Probably due to injury, probably not enough game time, whatever it is, lack of fitness. But he gave Werner that 10 yards of space, and he just went past him like he wasn't there because Walker couldn't keep up with him. Walker couldn't close the gap quick enough. And he does this a lot, Walker. He does it every single time a wide player touches the ball. He gives them enough space to run at him because he thinks, I'm quicker than you, I'll go get the ball off you. And when it doesn't work out, we get exposed. And we're being exposed every time he plays a right back because of that. Another thing he does, which I've said time and time again, and I swear it's because he's scared of nosebleeds, is that he doesn't jump for the ball. He doesn't jump. He doesn't defend the box at all. All he does is lean into the player. And you see it even from kickoff. The opposition will kick off. They boot it along like they always do, diagonal. And they'll do it towards Walker because they know he doesn't jump. He just leans into the player. And if the player manages to get his head on the ball, then we're in big trouble because it's likely to fall to one of their strikers or one of their midfielders running onto it. So they target him. And if you look at that Crystal Palace corner when it comes in, the fact he doesn't jump and he just tries to lean in the player is phenomenal to me. It's an unbelievable decision by him. But I've seen him do it time and time again. I can't remember who it was last season that he did it with, and I was fuming then as well. Cross comes in at the back post and he doesn't jump for it. He just leans into the player. Free header, goal. It's like when Lewis did it against Sporting for their last goal. He doesn't jump for the play. He just lets him get a free head and then tries to put his foot on it, even though the guy's headed it. It's madness. And Walker does this every single game. Every time a cross comes in, he doesn't head it. He won't jump for the ball unless he's the only person in a 20-yard area. He just doesn't jump. Now, you can say that he's being held down. He's being manhandled by the striker, whatever. But anyone else would try and jump. He didn't even try. He didn't even try. And it winds me up no end that he does that. So when I look at this defense, sure, Pep's been forced into changes again defensively. He has. Right, no doubt about it. He's been changed. We got how many players? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 youth team players and Grealish, Doku, Carson, Edison on the bench. We've got 2 goalkeepers and then Grealish and Doku are the only first teamers. They're the only ones we've got on the bench. So he's had to put in this defensive team, this back 4. But the fact that Walker is captain also just, to me, highlights some massive issues at this club. We got players like De Bruyne. We got players like Gundogan, who's back as well. I know he's gone for a year, but he's treble-winning captain. Why not make him captain? Why not make De Bruyne captain? Why the hell is Walker our captain? Because, like I just said, he offers so little to this team. He offers nothing going forward. He's offering nothing defensively. And for me, he's in that massive liability every time the ball goes towards our box because they put it across towards him. He ain't getting it. So, for me, him as captain is a joke. It's a joke. And I don't understand it. I don't think Pep actually decides the captain. I think the players decide the captaincy, and I don't know what kind of parties Walker's throwing still. But he should be nowhere near that captaincy band. He'll be nowhere near it. Particularly when you look at our last 10, 15 years of who we've had captains. The fact that Walker is, when he, like I said, he doesn't compete. He thinks he's something that he's not. He's definitely not got that pace in him in this season. I don't see it. And it winds me up every time. Every time he walks out with that armband, I just have no faith in us. Why is Diaz not captain? Diaz is the one marshalling that defense. Diaz is the one that throws himself at the ball. In that Nottingham Forest games, another large reason why we won is because that centre-half partnership between him and Ake, they were phenomenal in that game. And Diaz marshals that defense so well. He's unbelievable, Diaz. And I'd make him captain as well. De Bruyne, Diaz, Gundogan. We got so many more options. Even Bernardo over Walker. The team have to sort that out. Pep or the team, whoever's making him captain, take it off him. It's fucking garbage. Can't stand it. And he's a shit defender as well. He really is. I don't care what anyone says. Best right back. No, he's pace. Pace doesn't equal skill. You look at Dan James, he's quick. He's fucking shit footballer. He's quick. You know, Werner, what's his best attribute? Pace. Doesn't score goals unless it's against us. Doesn't really create anything unless it's against us. Pace. It's all about pace. Pace does not equal skill. You know, pace is an attribute. Sure, pace is something you put on for Football Manager and for FIFA. But in the Premier League, when you've only got pace and nothing else, fucking useless. And he's useless to us. Absolutely garbage. And Pep has to fix that as well, because if he's not got that pace anymore and you're still playing that half line because you know you got Walker in reserve, bloody hell, drop it back. You know, make us play on our own 6-yard box, let us counter-attack a few times. Stop playing to the halfway line so we get exposed again to this nonsense. Going into midfield, wow, we got De Bruyne, we got Rodri out. Yes, big issues. Yes, we're struggling without him. But we had a decent player in there, which was Kovacic, and then he gets injured. And then Forest, you know, that middle three, they had De Bruyne, Grealish, and Gundogan. I thought that middle three were fantastic together against Forest. Yes, again, were they fit enough to get up and down the pitch? Not for the full 90 minutes. Sure, there was a couple of moments where they lost the ball and our defense got slightly exposed. But, you know, they go up and down the pitch. All three of them have good determination. All three of them want to win. And all three of them have skill on the ball. They got good off the ball work rate. And that's what we need at the moment. In these trying times, when you're struggling to get points, when you're struggling to get wins, you need to work harder than you have done before. And that middle three was absolutely perfect. You know, like I said, Grealish, I thought he played his best game for us for a long time. De Bruyne, he's getting back to match fitness. He was fantastic, I thought, as well. And Gundogan in that CDM role, yes, he lost the ball a couple of times, particularly in the second half, dawdling on it, keeping hold of it for too long. But he did the job. He defends the defense well enough. He's good enough on the ball to be able to spray the passes, chip it over the top when Haaland needs it as well. He's got everything Gundogan to be in that CDM role. He has. And for some reason, for the Palace game, a tough game away from home, he's gone and changed it again. And he's mixed it up. And I just can't understand why he's done that. I don't get it. Now, if you're going to mix it up, the only way I can see it being justified is if you go with pace down both lanes. But Pep doesn't like pace in this team. Unless it's Walker, he's got something funny about pace. He needs everyone to be absolutely technical on the ball. And that exposes as well, because the Premier League's got pace and technical players. And we've just gone full technical at times. Now, I know you played Savinho. But if you're going to play anyone in this game, Savinho, who hasn't scored for us yet, and I like Savinho, I think it's only a matter of time. And I think once he does score, I think then he'll start banging them in on a regular basis. I think that's the same for Gundogan as well. Once he gets going after Christmas properly, I think he'll get even better as well. And that for most players probably, because like I said, we've had so many injuries and players are just being rotated constantly. It's just about getting through the Christmas period, getting more minutes into them. And I think we will come good eventually, probably middle, late January, going into Feb. It's a bit late by then, but still. Well, how have you taken Doku out after that performance against Forest? How have you taken Grealish out after that game against Forest? And how have you changed that middle five again? How have you changed the middle three in the wingers? And I don't get it. Nunes, again, who doesn't really offer us much at the moment. You know, he's a cup player, sure. Come off the bench. Why not give another player a rest? He's capable of doing service. And I know he got the assist for Haaland. It was a good cross for him. But how has he changed it? Don't understand it. I don't understand it. And we're just being exposed time and time again from poor decision making from Pep. If the players are on the bench and you're bringing the players off in the last 10 minutes, they must be fit enough to start the game. Start with them. Just start with them and then take them off in the second half if you have to, midway through the second half. You know, but don't be bringing Grealish on. He brought Grealish on, when was it? 86th minute. He brought him on, Grealish. 86th minute. And I hark back to something I've said a number of times as well about Pep's late substitutions. You know, he brings players on in the last 5 minutes, or even brings them on going in injury time as we look for winners. What the hell? What's a player meant to do coming on the 90th minute? You know, no one's ever done that for us where they can come on 90 minutes and score a goal. And yet Pep's insistent on that as well. Just bizarre. Absolute bizarre. I don't know. I don't understand it. So we got it drastically wrong against Palace. We got it drastically wrong. And it's not the first time Pep's done this season. And this really bad run that we're on, what do we need? We need hard work. We need consistency. And the lack of consistency that the players are getting in terms of who's playing week in, week out, reduces their ability to go on and just perform because they're being switched in constantly. And we haven't got enough players to doing that. When we're down to, what is it we got? We got 13 first teamers fit at the moment. 13 first teamers. And he's just rotating the 2 out, 2 in again. Just constantly like this. Keep the same team in. That's all I ask. And I think then we build on the momentum that we find. Because right now we are in a dark place and it doesn't seem to be getting it. But I thought we would build on something after Forest, and we haven't. We haven't built on it at all. We haven't learned the lessons from that game. And you can look at the possession stats against Palace. They're really good. But everyone knows that you give us possession, we're not going to create shit. Because you can just attack us. And like I said, if you get 3 or 4 bodies across that halfway line and a counter-attack, we're being exposed because the only ones back there are the 2 centre-halves. Because the full-backs are pushing up and we haven't got the pace or the energy to get back and defend it. I think we got a poor captain this season. Really poor captain. He doesn't inspire me. Does Walker inspire you? Because he doesn't inspire me. I think it's time for a clear out. And I know that's a discussion for another video. But the clear out has to involve Walker. Probably has to be Edison as well. And probably a couple of others. Maybe even De Bruyne. I know he's doing a good job. And he's still the best creative player we've got. Probably the best creative. Well, probably not the best creative player in the Premier League at the moment. But it's the best creative player that we've got. We've made so many mistakes in the transfer window. I think this January we get some money for a few players. They're running out of time here anyway. And we start to look forward to the end of the season because we can't look to the summer transfer window to start to fix things if our season's already over by January. Do it in January. The season's done and dusted. So do it now. Pull the trigger before it's too late and don't try and rebuild late. Rebuild early, good for next season. That's what I would do. That's what we need to do. That's what Pep and the board need to do going into January. We need to rebuild in January rather than the summer. Forget this season. It's done. Forget the Champions League. We're not beating Juventus away. We're not beating PSG. Forget it. You know? And just start rebuilding for next season. The focus has to be coming next August. That's the focus for me. But bloody hell. Let's stop all this rotating nonsense. Let's change our captain. Let's just go back to basics. Wow. Wow. We're in a bad spot. Pep's got to sort it out. He's got to do it. And I don't see how he fixes it because I don't think he's got it in him. I don't think Pep's got it in him. And I'm not saying we need to get rid of Pep. I just don't think he's got it in him to just stick with the tried and tested. I think he's got to tweak. I think he's got it in it, where he's just got to tweak and mess with things. And we're seeing him week in, week out, and it's just not good for us. It didn't work for us in the Champions League once. The only time we won that was when we actually stuck with a tried and tested team. And now when he's got a tried and tested team with Nottingham Forest, kind of working back to our full selves again, our best, goes and switches it up again. And all that hard work done by Docky and Grealish, absolutely undone against Palace. Bloody hell. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for checking it out. I rambled on a little bit and probably went off on a few tangents and it's not even coherent, but who cares? Neither is City at the moment. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.